I never thought I'd see my twin sister standing at my door at midnight, bruised, broken, and shaking like a leaf, begging me to save her. "Maya, please, you have to help me," she whispered, clutching her stomach, her voice barely audible. I froze, my heart pounding in my chest so hard I thought it would burst. "What happened?" I asked, pulling her inside, wrapping my arms around her. He did this," she finally managed, her voice cracking. "My husband, he." I felt something inside me snap, rage, fear, anger, all twisted together into one sharp knife I couldn't ignore anymore. That night I swore I would protect her, and if he thought he could get away with hurting her without consequences, he was wrong. My name is Maya, and I've always been the quieter twin. My sister Lena was bold, fearless, the kind of person who walked into a room and everyone noticed. Her husband, he was the kind of man who wore charm like a mask, but behind closed doors he was controlling, cruel, and dangerous. I had suspected things before, small things she tried to hide, bruises under long-sleeve, sudden phone calls that ended abruptly, the way she flinched when he raised his hand, but seeing her like this erased any doubt. I helped her into the living room, made her sit on the couch, and fetched ice. She shivered more from fear than cold. "You don't have to do anything tonight," I said softly, "just rest." "No," she whispered, "I can't, he'll do it again." Her words lit a fire in me. I couldn't just sit back, I needed a plan, a way to make him pay for what he had done. Over the next few days we plotted, we switched places, not just for appearances but to understand every detail of his life and find his weaknesses. "You think this will work?" Lena asked, her voice a mix of hope and fear. "It has to," I replied. "We know him better than he knows himself." At first it was small things. I answered his calls like her, wore her perfume, moved through the house exactly how she did. He didn't notice at first, but slowly his control started slipping. One evening he came home earlier than expected. I froze as he stepped into the living room, his eyes narrowing suspiciously. "Lena, why are you acting different?" His tone sharp, tense. "Maybe you've never really noticed me," I said, smiling softly, sitting in her chair. The next few days he became paranoid. He yelled at shadows, accused staff of lying, pacing the house at odd hours. I watched it all unfold with a hidden satisfaction. Then came the phone call that changed everything. "He's planning to leave. He's bringing someone else here tonight," Lena whispered from her hiding spot. I felt adrenaline rush through me. That night we would finish this. The house was quiet. I waited in Lena's room, hidden in shadows, the air thick with tension. The door clicked open. He stepped in, confident, smiling. "You've been different," he said, "but I like it more fun." I stepped out, my voice steady. "I'm done pretending." He laughed, dismissive, until he realized it wasn't Lena standing in front of him, it was me. What?" His smile faltered. "You hurt my sister," I said, advancing. "You thought you could control her, but control isn't yours anymore." I had gathered proof, photos, recordings, everything he had done, every hit, every lie. I held them up. "Everyone will see what you really are," I said, feeling the power shift. He lunged, but I was ready. The adrenaline, the anger made me faster. I blocked, dodged, cornered him. "You won't touch her again," I whispered. By the end of the night he was broken in ways he couldn't hide, not bruised physically but mentally, the mask gone. Lena finally stepped out. We hugged, relief washing over us. "You were incredible," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. I couldn't stand by," I replied. We left the city for a while to breathe, to heal, but every day I felt the satisfaction of justice, not violent revenge, but the kind that hits where it hurts the most, exposure. Months later I got a call. He had left town. His reputation ruined, and for the first time Lena smiled without fear. I realized something in that moment. Power doesn't always come from strength. Sometimes it comes from cleverness, from courage, from love. I held her hand, feeling the bruises fade, not just on her body but on our hearts. And as we walked into the sunlight together, I whispered, almost to myself, but loud enough for her to hear. "Some people never learn until they pay the price." It started with small acts. I put on her favorite dress, walked through the halls with her confidence, answered his calls with her tone, laughed at his jokes like she did. He didn't notice at first, but slowly the fear in his eyes grew with every small act of rebellion. I left subtle clues everywhere, evidence of his abuse hidden in plain sight, messages, recordings, pictures, nothing illegal, nothing brutal, just undeniable proof. It was slow torture watching him unravel. He questioned friends, his work, even his own instincts. The perfect husband image he had built for years was crumbling. One night I hid in her bedroom listening to him pacing below, the sound of his own guilt echoing through the walls. He didn't know I was there. He thought he was untouchable. I whispered to Lena, "Don't worry, tonight we finish this." When he walked in expecting his charm to work, I was ready, my every move calculated, every word precise. He lunged in rage, and for the first time he felt powerless. The proof, the recordings, the pictures, everything laid bare. His own hands tied to his lies. He begged, tried to manipulate, tried to charm, but none of it worked. And then I left him there, his mask shattered, his fear raw and visible. Lena came out and I pulled her into a hug, tears streaming down her face. She whispered, "Thank you for saving me." I whispered back, "No, I saved us." We left the city, and for months I watched him from a distance, his empire of lies collapsing, friends abandoning him. Name whispered with disgust. Every day I felt the sweet satisfaction of justice, not revenge through violence but through exposure. Lena started living again, her smile genuine, her laughter free. I realized we had done more than protect her, we had reclaimed our lives. Months later he called me from a blocked number, his voice trembling. "I never thought I'd lose you." I smiled softly. Some people never learn until they pay the price. Walking into the sunlight that day, I felt free for the first time in years. Neither of us would ever be afraid of him again. We switched places with my bruised twin sister and made her husband regret ever crossing us.